Would you be able to explain kind of what your mission statement is as an artist, what your vision is, what voice you're trying to be with what you're executing, with what music you're putting out there, rather?
I think I used to be more conscious of it when I was younger writing music, and now it just kind of naturally comes out. I don't really think about it much anymore, but I think my whole aesthetic, one thing that helps people connect with my music, and it helps me connect with other people. I know my music's been helpful to a lot of people who have gone through rough times in their life, because I try to take that hyper masculine, as like, you know, that rough thuggish aesthetic that rap music normally has, and then add like a unique sensitivity to it. Like I'll rap hard as shit in your face about crying in the shower, because, you know, but I do it in a way that like it's still fucking badass, you know, like I'm not being a chump about it. I'm just telling you, like, yo, I'm spitting these hot bars and I cried in the shower last night because fucking life's hard sometimes. Like that's that kind of shit. And like people cling to that. I've gotten so many messages like, hey man, I went through like a hard time in my life last year, and I just wanted you to know, for like 6 months, that song Drumlife like really got me through it. I appreciate it so much. So like, I guess that would be the vision, is just to connect with people and let people know that, hey man, you're not alone. Life's hard. Life fucking sucks. I get sad. I fucking cry. And I'm going to rap about it on these hot ass beats. So it goes both ways. There's oppression everywhere. Everywhere you look at it, everybody, society is unfair to everybody, and it's more unfair to certain people than others. I definitely don't feel bad about the fact that, yeah, it's not necessarily like normal for men to be emotional and shit. That's not the worst thing in the world, but I have fun expressing it because it's kind of like niche. It's a little bit niche. And also my music too, like I try to be really genuine about my faults and like who I really am, even when it's fucking ugly, and even when I know it's going to turn some people off, because like even though the truth may isolate some people, the people that it resonates with, it will resonate fucking hard. If it's divisive, it will resonate with the audience it's intended to resonate with.
100%. It's 100%.
Did you see that as a hole in the art that you consume that you had the opportunity to fill? Or did that just come naturally and you identified it after the fact as a hole that you are filling?
I think it came naturally because the artists that I was drawn to aren't necessarily mainstream, or like they don't have that mainstream exposure, but the artists that I consume rest in that niche. So in a way, I kind of was like, oh, they express those parts of themselves, even though they're not that popular for doing it. I can do it too. I mean, that's not, some of them are really popular artists. And to be honest with you, it's so crazy how the whole rap thing comes about, quote unquote. I was listening to rap that they were calling emo rap back in the early 2000s, which is completely different from the new, like, young generation iteration of emo rap, which I really respect too. And it's fucking awesome. Hip hop's, it's so funny that there's such a division in hip hop. There's so many old heads who are like, man, fuck this new generation of kids with their fucking mumble rap and this and that. And I just like look at people sometimes. I'm like, yeah, but have you taken the time to listen? Or are you just writing it off because young people like it and they dress goofy and they got tattoos on their face? Have you taken the time to listen? You make beats. Can you make a beat as good as the beat that Lil Peep rapped on? Can you make a beat that good? Because fucking 6 million people heard it. You know?
Yeah. And that's like I think that's a generational thing. I think we're just getting old enough to identify it now. Like I feel like parents are always like, oh, you kids and you're whatever, and like I like Jefferson Airplane or whatever, you know, like
100%.
I can understand where they're coming from. I'm sorry. I can understand where they're coming from. They should give a chance to listen to whatever the fuck they're saying in those songs, but that's their point. That's the point they're trying to get to, because the poetry is lost. The writing of it is lost. There's this saying that's a rap battle is really just two men writing poetry to each other in separate rooms. It's a beautiful form of art and writing and vocabulary and feeling the flow. Oh, that word goes with that. Oh, that play on words, that felt good. Physically, that made me feel good. And then you can get out this. And so I think I can understand where they're coming from. But they're so, because they're influenced by like P-Funk and George Clinton and Glenn Goins and like just these soulful artists. And then they're like, what the fuck is this? Does this have soul? Does this have soul still? But like, they should still give it a chance. Like, I'm so 50-50. I can understand both sides.
It's just a different It's just a
It's-
different kind of
It's a
soul,
different
man.
soul.
And
That's
the computer is the new instrument, man. And it's funny. So I don't really listen to the kind of rap I used to listen to it anymore, and I don't really listen to the kind of rap I make anymore either. Truthfully, I don't consume much rap music anymore. I listen to a lot of like indie rock music and stuff like that. But fucking the rap that I do consume is like straight up, the lyrics have very minimal content. There's not much there to say lyrically, but the beats are dope. Like whatever's hot in the streets, whatever's pumping in the streets, whatever sounds good, I go like this to them, be like, yeah, this shit's hard, son. This shit's hard. That's the only kind of rap music I'm really interested in listening to. And I like it even more because it's offensive to some people, because some people think that it doesn't have a soul. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm bumping to this shit in the whip. Yo, this shit is hard.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And then I guess that would just come down to people's definition of what that music is or what it constitutes. And then that's just it's open for so much interpretation.
Yeah, 100%. There's no wrong way to make art, right? And also, I think there's like this beautiful, beautiful art form, and being able to make these rap songs that say nothing but sound amazing. Yeah. Sometimes it's nice to just listen to a hard ass, like hood ass rap song and turn your fucking brain off and nod your head to the beat and be like, yo, that's a hot sound. That's dope. I don't know why it is, but it is, you know. I wish I could make music like that.
And there's an interesting distinction there too. I'm drawn to hip hop because I'm a word guy. I'm an idiot for sounds. I couldn't put a song together if I tried, but I love words. And hip hop is so full of words. And if you are a musical person, then you can listen to some shit that doesn't say anything because it sounds good. But I think, I don't know if a lot of people are drawn to hip hop for the same reason as me, but if that is the draw, then I could absolutely see why mumble rap or whatever isn't going to resonate with you the same way, because you lose that.
Yeah.
It's just interesting distinctions. It's subgenres of the same thing now.
It also fills my heart with joy to see all these young ass kids from the hood just getting money too. Like going back to the American capitalist thing, man, to see these kids just cranking out song after song and getting all this fucking money. Kids from shitty communities, kids who could have been on the street gang banging. I mean, a lot of them still are or whatever, but I just think that's a beautiful thing too.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Gives focus.
So I have a long journey to ask a question about how you found your voice. So I mentioned that I found you on Reddit. Then you mentioned a song that you posted that made it to the front page and got you a ton of hits. That's not where I found you. I found you when you posted, you posted a beat that was labeled as Aesop Rock type beat. I listened to it and I was like, shit, like I'm a huge Aesop Rock head. And then I found some of your stuff, and then I found your SoundCloud, and there's a beat on there called Ode to David Lynch that you made with somebody else, and then it came down.
My older brother taught me how to make beats. He made that beat with me.
That's amazing. That's even cooler. And then it said free download, and then I missed the download time. Like you pulled it down, but I still had it in my cache, so then I had to record it straight to my computer, and then I sent it to you after I recorded it. And what you said was, hey, you're an Aesop Rock clone, which is absolutely true. And then you said, it's cool though, because I am too, and I'm working on that. And now you don't, like, you've got a very distinct sound.
I don't remember that interaction. I'm so sorry. I hope I was polite too, and I wasn't a dick.
You were totally cool. Everything was cool about it. I'm here talking to you right now. Like I still respect and love you. I think you're amazing. But that, like, and that honesty, that self-awareness off the bat, where you were like, I am too, and I'm working on fixing that. And I couldn't deny it. You're absolutely right. Like he's like the #1 influence for me. He's the best ever in my opinion, and no one will come close. And that's cool. But the grander point here is that you found your own voice. You consciously sought to find it, and you have, it seems at least. How do you go about like consciously trying to distinguish yourself and make your own voice and stand out from the influences that have brought you to where you are?
I'm sure everybody has a different way, but mine is just by grinding towards that 10,000 hours. And the more I grind away and the more lyrics I write and the more times I record my own voice on top of my own beats, the more my own voice makes itself apparent to me. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to capitalize it. That way I twanged my voice right there. That's unique. I'm going to capitalize on that. The way I enunciated that word, I'm going to capitalize on that. Nobody really says that word like that. It like makes itself apparent the more and more I write and the more I record. But the truth is, this is the bottom truth. I still copycat too. I still go back and listen to an Atmosphere song from 2003. And I'm like, yo, I'm gonna copy his whole fucking cadence, but I'm gonna do it in my voice. I'm gonna do it in my voice, you know? So,
and that's like that's a hip hop thing forever, right? It's like it's not sampling exactly, but it's sampling and mixing and twisting, whatever.
And I think everybody's guilty of it to a degree. You hear something you like, you say, I'm gonna copy that, and how much of your own spin you put on it, how much you dial up that individuality knob is on you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. My whole career as a poet is built on the backbone of Conor Oberst, and you won't know who that is, but he's an indie folk singer, songwriter from Omaha, Nebraska. He's like a modern day Bob Dylan, and yeah, I could just copy all this shit, but no one knows. But I don't copy. What I do is like it's what I go back to, like a song, and I get the rhythm, and then I write a poem to that rhythm of the song with my own words, but so I can get a flow of it, so I can get something out. But I just need somewhere to start, and we all do.
When I have writer's block, I'll put on the instrumental to an Aesop Rock or a Slug or whoever I'm listening to at the time. I'll put on an instrumental to a song of his that I have memorized, and I'll start writing my verse. But in my head, it's Slug's voice spitting the verse. It's not mine. And my voice doesn't come out until I actually got to put it on the mic. But I already know Slug's deliverance and cadence is hot. So the voice I imagine in my head is him singing the song, and then I do my voice on the mic.
I know that yes. Yeah. It's the crazy things we artists do.
I mean, why wouldn't I? His shit's already hot. Why wouldn't I steal his flow, you know?
Precisely. That's exactly it. Yeah. All, yeah.
I do it with beats too. I hear a beat, I'm like, oh, I'm a copycat that. And no matter how hard I try, I can try as hard as I want to make my beat sound exactly like that other person's beat, but it never will anyway, because I'm an individual. So no matter how hard I try to make it sound exactly the same, I'm gonna come out with a unique product anyway, and nobody knows. And truthfully, it's not their business unless they're listening to this podcast anyway. It's not their business how much of a fraud I am.
It's true. We're all given like the same stencil. Like all musicians are given like the same stencil. Rappers are given the same stencil, and like because you're you and because you have your biases and experiences, how you fill that in is all going to be different. So like you don't really have to worry about plagiarism unless you really have to, and then worry about it.
And unless you're really trying to plagiarize. There's inspiration, man. Like
we're really adapting here. That's what we're doing.
Exactly. We're drawing inspiration from people who are doing shit that we think is good, and that'll happen in any creative endeavor. And I think that's what makes it so exciting when somebody truly unique appears, when you've never heard anything like it, and they've clearly found something that has not been found before, and you can recognize that because everything is derivative of something else.
I heard this interview from a guy who's like, I forget what his actual title was, but he was like a professional music analyst. He analyzes how music resonates with people. And he said the most popular artists in the world, including people like Jimi Hendrix, were so successful because they blended two things together that were never previously thought you could blend together, like two separate genres, and they put them together. And when he was talking about that, in reference to Lil Peep. I know a lot of old heads don't like Lil Peep because he had all the face tattoos and shit. But what he did was so unique. He took basically like Green Day style singing and mixed that with trap beats, and that's why he became famous in fucking Russia and all over the fucking world. Like that's so insane to me. Like seeing young kids do that shit, it's just like there's a part of me that wishes I would have had that grind and that motivation when I was younger. I would have been too busy getting fucked up and chasing women. But when I see young kids, even if like some people want to criticize the music, when I see young kids coming up in music and being successful, I'm like, good for you, man, because there's 1,000 things you could have did wrong on that path, and you made all the right decisions. Yeah.
Do you think that you are predisposed to success in blending those kinds of things because it is such a parallel to being a chef? Like I had a s'mores pizza the other day.
You had a what?
S'mores pizza the other day.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh yeah, I mean it's two distinct things that somebody brought together, and my goodness.
So what was the review?
Shit, man, it's amazing. Dessert pizza is like the best invention.
No, I don't think that I'm predisposed to success because could you restate the question? I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Yeah. You were saying how the guy who
blending genres.
Blending genres, blending two things that haven't previously been put together. And I see a parallel there in the kitchen because
parallel.
Yeah.
No, not necessarily because cooking. I was passionate about cooking because I'm passionate about anything that I do, but it never truly was in my heart. One way though that cooking in online has helped me in my music career is that over a period of 10 years, there will be points when you're working 60, 65 hours a week. You're doing 10, 12, 13-hour shifts back to back to back. And you get to a point where you feel so physically and mentally and emotionally, working in the kitchen is very emotional. You feel so emotionally defeated that you say, I don't think I can finish the night out. And you look at the clock and you say, oh my God, I have 4 hours left. And then you say, Ray, you have to finish the night out. You have no choice. You have to do it. So like doing that for so long built up this insane willpower and this insane work ethic in me. And it taught me how to never give up. Even when there's a dickhead chef behind you telling you you're a piece of shit and you'll never be successful in your life, you don't give up. You keep cooking on the grill, you know, like it doesn't matter. You keep going. And I 1000% now am drawing from that. When I'm at my computer, I'm like, man, I don't want to look at this computer anymore, man. I want to go inside and like talk to a girl or fucking play Morrowind. I don't want to do this. And I'm like, no, Ray, you have to do it. You have to do it. You don't have anything else you should be doing right now, you know? And I get that feeling I had in the kitchen where I'm like, oh, you can do it. You don't just have to do it. You can do it. You know, I do 10, 12-hour sessions on this computer back to back to back because what else am I don't have anything right now. I don't have anything but my music. I need to build something out of it, you know?
Yeah.
It goes back to that having energy, and whether you're going to put it towards a 12-hour shift, you letting people like emotionally and mentally abuse you, or are you going to put that towards doing your own shit, making yourself money? I worked in kitchens. I never did serving, but I worked in kitchens since for a very long time. Yeah. And they're just dicks. I remember we had like 30 chits up and I was like, I need water. And they're like, well, you also need to finish these chits. And I'm like, oh, okay. It's like, it's hard work and they push you.
That's when I sweet talk one of the servers. Bring me some water.
That's so true. Yeah, of course. But it's that I got the water, but it's that mentality of, you need to keep going. You need to push through. And I've experienced that. So I commend you for it. It's very difficult.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, and the way I look at it too, I'm not making near as much money as I was making at the last kitchen I was working in. Honestly, I was making really good money working in that last kitchen. But if I could do that, if I can work that hard and draw that much of my energy and myself for somebody else's goal, why can't I do twice that much for my goal?
That's exactly it. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it takes people quite a while to figure that out, or they don't, because they feel very comfortable being told what to do and having security and understanding that there's going to be something at the end of it. To drop that and to sacrifice takes a certain strength in a character that, yeah, again, I commend you for.
I've been unhappy in my life pursuits for so long that I no longer give any fuck at all about what society or any onlooker could think about how stupid I'm living my life right now, because I know it looks dumb, man. It's not that it's not a good look how I'm living right now, but none of that even crosses into my mind anymore. I'm like, I'll walk in the street naked. I don't care. I'll look stupid. You know, there's no social consequence that could keep me from my goals.
So yeah, what other people think about you is really none of your business. And also, to put it plainly, and that goes forever. Like I say, I keep that in my mind a lot. And, but even you keep repeating, you know, it's not a good look where you are, where you're at, whatever. It doesn't matter, because you on the inside know that wherever physically, whatever you see, it may be shit to a bystander or whatever, but you know inside that it's different from where you were and it's better than where you were. Even if the surroundings physically, what they looked like were nicer and more comfortable or more luxurious, and it looked more put together. You know that where you are is where you're supposed to be, and people don't know what you lived through. They can't see that. So
it's wild too, in a way, once you start living in your truth and like putting your truth out into the world, how different kinds of people start becoming available to you too. It's Precisely. I'm experiencing that for the first time in my life. I'm like, oh, what the fuck, you know?
Because you're allowing it. Yeah.
And you're like in the first parts of your genuine journey. Roller coasters suck at the beginning. You know, like it's
That's
super
good.
slow, and then you're on this
Yeah, you
terrible
gotta vomit
hill
a
for
few
a
times.
long time, and then you get to the top of the hill, and then suddenly everything's cool again. Like for a minute, it sucks. It's no fun at all. So you're doing the right thing. I heard a guy on another podcast. I can't tell you who it is. Unfortunately, I have no idea. But he said, or he noted the importance of tying your ego not to the outcome, but to the process. If you tie your ego to the outcome, then you're destined to be sad all the time, unless things go perfectly. But if you tie your ego to the process and the grind and the attempt at the goal as opposed to the achievement of the goal, then you're good. And
I think
so
the term for that
matter.
is, I think the term for that is outcome independence. It's actually something I've read about very recently. Outcome independence. No matter what the outcome is, you don't have. I mean, to a degree, you have control over it, but once the outcome has occurred, you no longer have control over it. So, what's the point in stressing about it anyway? You're absolutely right, and that's 100% what I'm living right now. I'm completely ingrained in the process, and I've even accepted that. Say I throw all my heart and all my money at this, I run out of money, end up back in the kitchen, never made a career for myself in the music industry. At least I grew from a person during that process, and I'll have a story to tell at the end of it. It is what it is. I keep saying over and over again to people, I'm just going to put all my shit out there and work harder than I've ever worked in my life, and I'll accept whatever the universe gives back to me. And if the universe says I'm not worthy of a paycheck, guess what? Them's the breaks, kid. Go chop up some chives in the kitchen, bro.
Yeah. And you take out all the what ifs then, right? Like at least
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I feel you had something else to say, Matt.
No, I didn't.
No.
I'm sorry.
No.
I had an issue like when I first heard Matt's raps. I'm like, you're good, but yeah, you do sound like ASAP Rock. But I had such an issue with it.
What do you mean?
I think it's just because that's how your voice sounds. I don't think you're a clone.
Well, there's like a cadence.
I don't think your cadence, but listen to how you talk naturally though. Is that your normal voice right now?
Yeah, but
then you're going to sound like that. You're going to sound like A$AP Rock.
A little bit, but honestly, there are things like I listen to myself and I'm like, no, I stole that. Like that's a thing he does. And
yeah, but nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know unless they're a real A$AP Rock fan.
Yeah, certain producer I sent a song to, ID'd it right away.
I know. I was trying to.
I've met him. I've met him like twice now. So.
This is the last time I give anyone the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to try to be. No.
Hey,
you're a fucking clone, Matt.
And you're right that there's an inevitability to sounding. Again, that's why someone really truly unique is such a standout all the time, is because everybody is derivative at least a little bit. And it's a thing that I hear in comedy all the time too. Comedians I hear talking on podcasts will say how when they started, everybody sounded like Dave Attell or everybody sounded like Mitch Hedberg because they were the shit at the time and they inspired people to start doing it. And that's what they adopted because that's what they understood as good comedy. And then you have to grow out of that. You have to start with that so that you can build your craft a little bit before you can then differentiate yourself from the influence and start to find your own voice. But you have to put in the reps and put in the time in the first place just to develop the capacity to make the art form itself, even if it's, not stealing, but kind of stealing.
Yeah, you're 100% accurate. You're 100% accurate.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't write that much, so like I still rip them off. Like there's no honestly, and I don't hate myself for it. It's just an honest thing. Like I'm not a professional rapper. I'm not trying to steal his shit, and I wish I had more of an independent voice. And I'm sure I'll develop one if I keep up. But it just is what it is, and that's cool. And I respect and love the dude so much that I'm actually kind of flattered when people say, "Hey, you kind of sound like A$AP."
Hell yeah, that's a big compliment. When that Drumlife video went viral on Reddit or whatever, so many people commented on the YouTube video and said you look like A$AP Rock and you sound like it too. I don't know if it's because he had a beard at the time and I had a beard, but him and I both have we both have really big eyes.
Oh yeah.
So
I still think there's a science to it. Like I still think that your own the voice boxes are going to sound similar. Like it's in some musicians some singers sound like other singers and they can't help it because that's how the structure of their throat is formed.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
This?
because I experienced it independently. Sometimes people who look like each other sound like each other as well, and that experience is going to stick out in your mind more than two people who looked like each other but didn't sound alike. I've experienced it too and been like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and there's a level too of just trying to identify what something sounds like. And if the thing you sound closest to is Aesop versus everyone else who makes music, then like maybe, you know, maybe that's what people identify you with the most closely, but it's not the same.
And at the end of the day, too, like there's nothing new under the sun. And what am I doing other than just rapping over beats? And how many times has that been done before? Like, I'm not doing anything special or new. I'm doing something that has been done millions and millions of times before me. It's gonna be done millions and millions of times after me. So that's why I realized too, it's not, I think I'm starting to accept it's not necessarily individuality is going to help me in my journey 100%, but it's not the key factor. The key factor is how well I can make my product available to the audience.
Yeah, it's so true.
And by doing no marketing and no product, I could have all the individuality in the world. It doesn't mean shit if I don't understand how to get it in front of people, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And authenticity, man. Like you got to be authentic. People resonate with that.
Yeah, authentic. And to the point where it almost seems, again, I've mentioned this before, but it seems like in show business or when you're trying to be successful, you kind of reach this threshold where, okay, you're independent, but if you want to make it big, you have to make this sacrifice. And whether that be like your autonomy or your creative control or your individuality or your authenticity, there's something that needs to be sacrifice in the process of accelerating to the next level. Do you feel yourself that you'll hit that, or do you feel you're just going to completely avoid it and continue to the top?
I don't know. That's something that I would deal with as it came about, but I accept that no matter what I have planned in my head for the direction that this thing's going to go in, it's probably not going to look like the way I plan it to look like. So everything I do is an adjustment. I'm learning as I go. I'm moving. I'm making adjustments. I do see my career as a musician. It's funny, people who don't like study the industry or know anything about it, not that I know a whole lot, but I'm starting to learn. People don't know anything about it. Like, man, you're going to get signed. You're going to get a deal, this and that one day. But in my head, I'm like, no, that's not really in the cards for me. I'm an independent musician. I'm a businessman. I'm going to learn how to sell my own music. I'm not trying to be I'm really not. I mean, if it was easy, yeah, I would say, let's be millionaire music producer, artist. That's fun. But really all I'm trying to do is make enough money that I can pay rent, have a nice fucking car, make sure my daughter's got everything they need. And I would like to have a nice little vacation home in Florida so I can see my family there. If that's too much for me to ask, the universe will let me know. But it hasn't let me know yet, so we'll figure it out, you know?
Precisely. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
But, I mean, but yeah, I would, if there was an opportunity for me to increase my income, which I don't think this opportunity would ever be at my door. If there was an opportunity for me to sacrifice my authenticity to make a shit ton of more money, I would probably go with the money, man. And that's me being genuine and true, because I got a family to take care of and I have fucking people that I want to take care of, man. And at the end of the day too, our goal as artists is supposed to be to make a product that reaches masses. So if I had to change something, I mean, it depends on what details we're talking about, but if I was told to adjust something to reach a wider audience of people with my music, I think it'll probably be a no-brainer, honestly, because that's my goal, is just to reach people with my music and affect people with my music. I don't hate on pop music anymore. I used to hate pop music, but now I get it, man. There's something special in making a song that can resonate with 6 billion fucking people. That's fucking art, dude. You know, like, I don't give a fuck how genuine they are. You know, like, I there's some artists that I'm like, yo, this dude does not mean a thing that he's saying. These words don't mean shit, but 6 million people listen to his song. That's hot. That's like special, you know? Sorry.
It's an art, but it also comes down to a very meticulous science that can be studied. And I think that's exactly the path that you're on, is unlocking the code on unlocking the code, is studying how to study, is learning how to learn. How you begin with your marketing, and you're very, very, very seemingly very passionate about. Matthew and I both went to school for advertising and marketing, and so I'm jealous that you're doing all this for free. Like, we had to pay a shit ton, and but not too much, no, but But
yeah, but you fast tracked though. You have so much knowledge now that I don't have and that I yearn
10
for.
years ago. From 10 years ago. So you're learning the new juice, the new stuff, and that's good. But my apologies. I have too many tabs open now. Where was I going with this? Yes. So you are even to write a song that is palatable and will touch 6 billion people. That is a specific science and a pattern that can be studied. And I feel like that's, again, the very journey that you're on.
It's funny, like one little detail, like one fun way that I like to express myself. There's already something that I've learned. You know what? I'm gonna tone it down just because it had a negative impact on my interactions. I like the whole like Satanist aesthetic, pentagram. I was raised in a super Christian house, so I saw all the bullshit, and I know how offensive it is to Christians and stuff, and I get a giggle out of that. So I like to throw pentagrams up on everything, 666 shit, upside down crosses. I think it's cute. But like when I was in the process on social of like marketing shit for my album, like putting out little videos on TikTok and Facebook and stuff, I got multiple comments of like, damn, I was with you till the Hail Satan shit, bro. And I thought to myself, like, is it okay? It's a funny joke for me because I like that it offends people, but is it worth isolating people from my art for that joke? And that's like a question that I have to grapple with. You know, I have to consider that. Is it worth the joke for me or is it not? You know, and I got better responses on shit that didn't have pentagrams on it and didn't have text that said Hail Satan. Although all my punk friends in the music community are like, hell yeah, bro, Hail Satan. But like, that's not necessarily what's going to put money in my pockets too. So is that disingenuous of me to not do what I want to do because it's going to isolate some of my audience members?
Yeah, it's like a question of whether you're going to actively do something to draw people who wouldn't otherwise care about you versus what you did, which is to just stop doing something that alienates people. That's not helping you. It's not meaningful. It's not like a deep part of the art you're making. It's just a thing that you were doing because you like it, and it's pushing people away, and that's needless. But there's also like, hey, Ray, we want you to start rapping with helium filter on your voice. And you might be like, no, thanks. Like, that's not right. Yeah, there's definitely a difference there.
I'll really be like, what's the advance? How much are you paying me?
How are you doing in the dark? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Is this ruining your guys?
No.
It's going to be distracting for me to go in there. I have plenty of light. I can see you guys fine, but this is a very old webcam on a very old computer, and there's going to be distractions if I go in the house.
No, it's fine for us. I was just making sure you're comfortable and you weren't.
I'm so comfortable out here, and I'm really enjoying the conversation with you guys. Thank you again for having me on.
Yeah, man, our
pleasure. Of course, yeah. Okay, we're good. No, but just to kind of bridge back to what we were saying, so we could segue. Anthony Jeselnik, if you've heard of him, is a comedian that is so very incendiary and contentious, and it's great. But he has in his bits where he after tragedies or mass or something terrible that goes on, you know, he goes to Twitter and he tweets about it almost immediately because it's never too soon is his thing. It's never too soon because
that's his MO. That's his whole vibe.
That's his thing, right? And so it's great, and he does it. But then he got caught one time and said, the higher up said to him, you know, Anthony, if you don't take this down, it's gonna be bad. People are gonna be fired. People under him are gonna lose their jobs. And he had to sit with that. He's like, okay, what do I do? Do I keep it up because fucking that's who I am, and I can't, like, continuity with my art all the way through, like, or do I just show this little bit of humanity and see outside of the art and just for 1 second do what needs to be done? And so I feel like it's not the exact situation, but a lot of artists do come face to face with that. You know.
Yeah, he's in a whole different world. He's entwined in that money-making machine that affects so many other people's lives. He's attached to so many other people. Anybody operating at that level is just, there's so much more at stake than just what they want to do with art. They are now like a revenue generator. They're keeping people's families fed and shit, you know?
Yeah.
And there's more checks and balances on them too.
Yeah. But, you know,
does that sort of idea make you want to keep your circle small?
I'll grow my circle as I see the utility in it to fit. You know, I'm accepting people. I got like 3 people with me right now.
Matthew
my
really
engineer.
wants to be your friend. That's what. Sorry.
Yeah, can we please expand your circle by at least one person in Canada?
That's what he's trying to get at.
You guys are both in it now.
No, that's too many people. Keep it smaller. A little bit
But
smaller.
yeah, I got my, it's like anybody who's I saw a meme and it was like anybody who's not willing to pick up the bricks, anybody that you got to tell to pick up the bricks with you, you don't need them there picking up the bricks with you. And as soon as I came back to South Jersey, my boy James jumped right on the music shit with me, gave me a place to do the mixing and mastering on the album and shit. And I was like, damn, I didn't even have to ask you for nothing, bro. Like, you're squad now, you're day one, you know.
Yeah.
This girl I'm sweet on in West Virginia right now who's helping me with all my marketing stuff. I didn't have to tell her shit. She was like, we're making you a newsletter, export all your email addresses from Bandcamp, export your email addresses from the BeatStars platform. We're going to start doing email marketing. And she does paid advertisements for a nonprofit on social media anyway. So she was like, I'm going to guide you through all this marketing shit. I didn't have to ask for nothing from her. So that's team, that's squad, like that's squad for me, you know? And if other people provide utility and want to jump on the train, because I'm moving right now, I'm moving and that excites people. If you want to jump on the train and provide value, I have no problem sharing resources. We're all here to help each other. If James calls me and asks me to help him with some video work right now, I'm on that. That's my first priority, is to do whatever he wants. I don't need no money. I don't need nothing. I edited a video for his boy, this like pop punk singer. I guess I'll shout him out. His name is No Time for Structure. That's his social media. This kid plays guitar, plays bass, makes all his own drums in Logic and shit, and sings on top of it, and it's fucking amazing. And James is his engineer, and they needed a video done, and they filmed it, and I did a little bit of editing for it, and they were like, "Yo, let us pay you something." I was like, "Nah, bro, nah, you're not paying me for that shit. You guys are in the circle. Like, we all help each other. That's what it is. If it wants to expand, that's cool. Like, if it expands in a useful way, that's great. I hope it does. I hope it does expand. I hope I become more efficient. I hope I get some money rolling through. I hope I can start feeding myself, feeding other people, you know."
That's dope, man. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, people who are earning a spot in that circle. You don't want to be paying people for nothing.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. They make themselves apparent. That's what I found. At least since I've been like giving into my motivation and my drive, those people make themselves apparent. They pop up and say, "Yo, let me do some work." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm doing work every day. You want to do work every day? That's what's up. Let's go."
In the vein of giving away your time for, well, call it free. I know it's an exchange of time and bartering of your time. But you did the video for free. It's calling to mind the Run the Jewels approach to their release schedules, which, if you're not familiar, or for anyone who's listening who's not familiar, Run the Jewels is LP of Definitive Jux fame.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's over here. That's East Coast. That's East Coast, United States, baby.
That's it, brother. And Killer Mike. And they are this absolute hip hop powerhouse at the moment. And they have released every album for free and ahead of the planned date.
I did not know that they did that. That's
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And
Yeah,
a whole
that's awesome.
album. Sorry, and a whole album that sounds like cats. Sorry,
Yes,
they redid
yes.
their whole songs.
Oh yeah, Meow the Jewels. Yeah,
Meow
it was
the Jewels,
good.
yeah.
Meow the Jewels was good, man.
Open Mike Eagle has a podcast called What Had Happened Was, and there's a whole season, the whole second season is with LP going through his career. So there's a ton of insight. It's be really great for you, Ray.
I listen to that.
Yeah,
I gotta listen to that. LP is one of my inspirations. El Producto, man. 100%. He was one of those first guys that I started listening to. I found Atmosphere first, and then I found all the sister labels like Anacon and Def Jux. Def Jux inspired me so much. So many artists from Def Jux, man. People always bring up that, you know, people love to talk about Eminem, but I'm like, what about Cage? Cage was way more offensive. I like this flow way better. And Eminem stole his style from Cage anyway. Cage was doing it first.
Yep.
I've never heard of him.
Oh yeah, Cage has some contentious lyrics.
I've heard of Snow. That doesn't count.
I think not. Yeah, it's the same. He's about the same.
And then, like, do you know who Soul is from Anacon?
Soul? Oh no.
SOLE. So he goes by like Young Soul on social media. I was always a big fan of him too, and he beefed with LP too. And LP kind of bodied him, but I'm still always gonna be a big Soul fan.
Yeah, Soul's great too, man. Yeah, that whole scene was amazing.
It was one of those moments in time that will never occur again, never get it back. When I was young, I had these dreams that I was going to be working with these guys one day. Yeah. But now I realize we make our own events. We make our own timeline. We make our own scenes. That shit was the past. We redo it on our own, you know?
That's it.
You can be one of those guys that people like you want to work, like people that kids want to work. You could be one of those guys that has, you know, people that want to work with them. instead.
Yeah, that's my aspiration. I would love that. I want to be one of those guys one day. I want to inspire people, and I want people to reach out. It keeps me motivated, keeps me going.
Yeah. Okay. I don't even think we really got into kind of like the genre. Would you say, so I'm scrolling on your Instagram, I'm reading your captions, I'm listening to your music, and I would kind of like lo-fi. Does lo-fi kind of hit the right?
Yeah, for sure. I bounce between lo-fi and trap stuff.
Oh, right on. Okay.
In my production, I lean more towards trappy stuff. In the past, I put out like rap singles and stuff, where it was like super duper trappy type stuff. But yeah, definitely my beats are like old school. The beats I rap on are like old school lo-fi type shit. I sell some lo-fi beats for sure, and that seems to get everybody's attention. Whenever I do some hashtag lo-fi shit, it always like resonates really well. So
okay. It's just for, I guess, the curiosity in me. I know that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, this might just be my little knowledge of pop culture, but T.I. is like the originator of trap, or he's
I honestly wouldn't know, because I never really listened to T.I. or was a big fan. When he was popping is when I was listening to all the underground shit that Matt and I are talking about right now. And I was actually very anti-mainstream, I was very closed-minded. I hated pop music. I hated popular rap, which I've since grown out of.
Okay.
I've fully grown out of, and I appreciate popular rap for everything that it stands for now, but I missed that. I was young too.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when people are like, oh, you're a rapper, who do you like better, Biggie or Tupac? I'm like, dog, I was like 7. I was like 7 when that shit happened.
Yeah.
They're both pretty good.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot.
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I wish I had a better answer for that, but I know that T.I. is fucking epic, and he made a major impact on the music scene, and I respect that shit. That's fucking gangster.
No, more so what I was just kind of using that to kind of get to show you my understanding of what I understand trap to be, but I kind of want what is lo-fi when it comes to rap? What is trap? What is it? What are they?
To me, I think now trap is like an aesthetic and a sound, but the origin of trap, at least it's my belief, and I could be wrong, don't quote me on this because I'm not a hip-hop historian, but I think the origin of trap and how it got its name was straight up dudes making music out of trap houses while they're selling whatever, crack, selling blow, selling meth, whatever, just cooking up drugs and making music about selling drugs, fucking, and doing crime shit. I think that's where the term came from, because it's trap houses and shit. But then it developed into a mainstream aesthetic, and you got dudes who like never seen the streets a day in their life who make trap music, and that's fine too, because they make hot ass music, you know?
Yeah.
Can you describe aesthetically what would make, like, how would I identify a trap beat if I were?
In my mind, a trap beat is, first of all, if it's a good trap beat, I said crap beat, that's fun, that's ironic. If it's a good trap beat, it makes you want to do some hood shit. When you're bumping your head, you want to go out and like do some fucking crime shit and flip a cop car and light it on fire. Okay. But technically, it's 808s, high speed rolling hi-hats, heavy 808 sub bass, catchy melodies.
Okay. So based on your first part of that description, wanting to go start a riot, Rage Against the Machine is a huge trap influence. I know I want to fight some cops when I listen to Rage.
But they don't have the 808s.
No.
Although they are crossing over into hip-hop with the shit that Zach has done with LP. That's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I think there's a whole album coming out.
Really?
There was talk of that for a minute. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just made that up. I don't know now. I don't trust myself.
Do you know the story of how they formed Run the Jewels?
Vaguely, but you want to describe it?
Yeah, it's just interesting. Killer Mike really wanted LP to produce an album for him, and LP kept telling him fuck off, basically. LP didn't want to do it, and they got in the studio for one session, and the one session turned out so well that LP was like, "Yo, let's do a whole album."
That's crazy.
Like, yeah, Killer Mike had to like chase down LP. I don't know if it was his label or whatever was telling him like, you need to put out an album. And he was like, I only want to do it with LP. And Killer Mike really sunk his teeth into LP, and he wasn't on board at first. And then LP finally signed on, and then it turned into one of the most impactful hip hop duos in the last decade.
Yeah,
that's nuts. It really, like, actually, that whole story is really interesting. Please listen to that Open Mike Eagle podcast. What had happened was, LP and Killer Mike dropped albums coincidentally a week apart. Cancer for Cure by LP and Rap Music by or RAP Music by Killer Mike. So then they ended up touring together, and they spent a lot of time together that way. And LP got
shit.
off the road, and he wanted to make Run the Jewels. That was just his own thing. He had Run the Jewels as a name in mind for a long time, and just wanted to make it. And then Killer Mike came in to like do a track or two, and then they just hung out and did the whole thing. And then they put it out. They put it out for free. Like they did everything beyond that. And yeah, I like from a business perspective, I think they're really inspiring because they insist on doing things their own way, and counter to the traditional business side of music. They put everything out for free. They make their money on the road for sure. Go ahead.
Killer Mike, he was already with what, like Gorillaz and like Outkast or whatever. Like he could put shit out for free. Like he had things in the, like they're already at a point where they can put things out for free though. They already have fame.
They were good and they were respected, but they weren't big. They had both like had long storied music careers, but Run the Jewels blew them up.
Yeah,
LP was on the LP before Run the Jewels. LP was on the edge of like fading into obscurity, honestly. Yeah. And I don't say that as a negative way. He was just such an underground ass dude.
Yeah, and he's too talented. He's so talented. He makes amazing beats.
Yep.
Amazing.
And too, if you listen to his beats too, like in a way, they're a whole new sound that still stays so true to the old school sampling shit.
Yeah.
And like it blows my mind. He is such a, from running that label Def Jux and stuff. Run the Jewels is a masterpiece of marketing as well, just with the hand signal thing that they do. And they took those beats shouldn't be popular mainstream beats, but LP made it that way. Yep. It's so crazy.
Yep. And the two voices are so distinct, but they work so well together. And you can sense the friendship, which is like such an underrated and understated kind of thing that I don't know. I'm a salesman. I sell flower pots as a job, but like people want to buy from you if you're their friend. So like you got to build friendships, and people want to like be a part of the friendship that Run the Jewels has. Like those guys are homies for real, and it's a fun thing to watch and be a part of.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you're now watching the Run the Jewels podcast.
Yeah. Well, hey man, we're talking about you in the same breath as LP and Killer Mike, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. It's thank you guys so much. That's really awesome. I hope one day to like achieve the kind of recognition that guys like that get. And I think the only way to do it is to just never stop at your craft. You only get better and better and better. And I have like a super duper long, this is the beginning of a super duper long journey of me achieving that, 10,000 hours or whatever it is for me to become a virtuoso. But I've been doing it for so long, it just seems silly for me to ever stop. I've been doing it long enough now. It seems silly for me to ever stop and say, even if I have to go back to a kitchen, it'll be silly of me to stop making beats and stop writing raps,
Yeah, you can't, because at the end of the day, you're only going to be disappointing your future self, and that's going to hurt like fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I lack that foresight, and it drives me nuts. I'm so happy to sit on the couch for a minute instead of doing something productive. So I'm jealous of your absolute obvious drive to succeed.
I mean, it's a double-edged sword though. I'm not happy every day. I want to sit on I'm constantly criticizing myself. Anytime I do something that's not working towards my goal, I'm like fucking just nailing my head into the wall. Like, what are you doing laying in bed right now, Ray? You're supposed to be working. And it's like hard sometimes. I spend too much time staring at the computer, man. And it's like, it gets frustrating sometimes.
And you gotta understand that, because, and again, you mentioned the American capitalist mentality, whatever. You have to understand that we as producers and consumers place a lot of our value in our productivity. So we put a lot of value in who we are as humans and just in our personalities and how much we can produce in a day. So it's consistently walking that fine line of, okay, I'm not going to push myself because that's replicating and mimicking the abuse that I've been treated by or given to by. It's just how society wants things to be done. You have to walk a very fine line so you don't reach burnout, because you can take that same energy, again, working in the kitchen and then applying it in your own and push yourself. But when you were in the kitchen, did you want to be treated that? Did you want it? Helped, and it helped. But knowing that you had to put yourself 14, 15 hours, was it necessary? And so now you have your own time to sit back and say, how do I want to be treated? And now I get to treat myself that way. Dope. Now I can be a little easier on myself. So if you do find yourself like on the couch and kicking yourself, because, oh man, I don't have any value as a human unless I'm being productive. That's all a lie. That's an illusion. But you need to maintain that drive or else everything falls flat.
Yeah,
So
it's
walking a
internalized.
very fine line.
Internalized capitalism. Yeah, and it is a very fine line. I gave myself a breather today. Actually, it's funny. I told myself today I wasn't going to work on any music at all today because it's been like months of back-to-back sessions and me not taking a break. And I realized last night, like, my like mentality and my emotional state last night when I was out here at the laptop cranking out beats was like getting a little bit wacky. So I was like, all right, tomorrow I'm going to take a break. But then like 2 o'clock came around and I find myself laying in bed, scrolling through Instagram, listening to other people's music. I was like, I want to go make a fucking beat right now, man. So that's what I was doing before I got on with you guys.
And that's the lesson, because not a lot of people have that time to themselves because we work. So you have, the game is figuring out how to spend that free time without like purposefully like filling ourselves up with stuff we don't need.
Yeah, and the social too. Now that I have to spend so much time on social, making like constant posts to promote content and show new content, I try to, when I'm not actively doing something productive on social, I try to not be on it at all because it just makes the mentality worse.
Yeah, 100%. Now, can you explain your logo? It's so cool, and I love the colors.
Yeah. Hey, can I go turn this back light on real quick and then come back and explain the logo? Thank you.
Of course.
It's dark as shit out here, bro.
Yeah, I noticed it's getting darker.
Yeah. We don't know it right now, but we're watching a Blair Witch.
Well, that's why I asked. Yeah. I was going to get steadily more terrifying.
I got a new lamp. I'm well lit today.
It's good that you have a new lamp, Matthew. That really helps.
I got one from Costco. Look, it changes color if you wanted to. Ooh.
All right.
And we're back.
Yeah. So the logo is just my best friend, this guy named Derek, who lives here in South Jersey. He's been my friend for about 16 years. He met me when I was a teenager on MySpace. I was a teenager. He was like 22. I was like 16. And he found me on MySpace. He was like, yo, your music's awesome. You want to make music together? And I was like, yeah. And we haven't really done a super lot productively music-wise through our friendship, but he's one of the very few people that stuck with me over a long period of time. So he draws a lot. That's what he does. He has a graphic design degree. He doesn't use it professionally. He works in the medical field, but he just drew that up for me, man. He was like, look at this cool picture I drew you. And I was like, damn, I'm going to use that shit. That's going to be my new brand.
It's perfect. Amazing. It works. It's funky.
Thank you so much.
Otherwise, it's an interesting. Would you ever let someone impersonate you on stage?
Sure. Yeah. If the situation calls for it, absolutely.
That's an interesting thought, is the stage performance. Obviously with COVID, that hasn't been a thing for the last little bit. Has it been a thing for you in the past, or is it something you're excited for in the future?
Yeah, that's an interesting topic. Also, I'm going to jump into that, but I want to say, I hope that one day I can be valuable enough that somebody would have to impersonate me. That's the real just of it. But yeah, so like I spent a lot of that time that I was drunk, I spent playing show after show after show with like all my music homies in Trenton. I played punk shows, I played hardcore shows, I played rap shows. I'll play everywhere. I did little like weekend tours, travel up and down the coast a little bit, spreading my music. And I realized like that punk style touring of like just going out and getting drunk and playing shows in front of people and partying and stuff, it wasn't building nothing, man. For me, like, if I'm going to build an empire, it's going to be on the internet. Yeah, I'll play shows. If it's necessary for me to play a show, if there's enough people that care to see me perform, then I'll absolutely play a show. I love being on stage. I've gotten many compliments being on stage because I like to look people in the eye. I'll rip a room with 7 people in it. I don't care, Yeah. I don't get beat down about that kind of shit. I'll look everybody in the fucking eye, get off stage, rap my shit hard as hell about crying, and then go get drunk at the bar or whatever. I'll play shows if I ever get to a level where people want to see me play shows. But as far as actively looking for shows at this point in my career, it seems pointless. The more time I spend on my computer, the more money ends up in my bank account.
If you would like to just right now kind of give any shout outs or any Instagram profiles, what are they called? Handles?
Handles, yeah, Instagram handles. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's really just at Barksdale Music. He makes great beats too. He sells beats and makes great beats. He's an excellent recording and mastering engineer. And his homie that was in the studio with us while we were mixing and mastering my project, at No Time for Structure. It's just all one word, No Time for Structure, at No Time for Structure. He's an amazing guitarist, singer. His music's awesome. He's got girls just swooning on him on his social media because he's singing that emotional pop punk shit. He's so cool, man. I'm so glad I met him. And just my brother Eugene, who's been supporting me so much and sending me equipment stuff that I need. I love you, Eugene. That's my shout outs.
Yeah, and plug yourself, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. And also as well, what and in your stuff.
Yeah, so Instagram, I'm constantly posting rap content and beat content on Instagram at Real RayRayBeats. Also www.rayraybeats.com for anybody who's interested in leasing instrumentals at a really fair, really cheap price. And if you get on my email list, I send out 20% off discount codes all the time. So you could buy bulk beats with 20% off. I sell non-exclusive licenses. I sell exclusively for a little bit higher cost. YouTube/RayRayBeats, got a ton of music videos on there, got a ton of beats on there.
Okay.
Is the new album on Spotify?
The new album's on Spotify, iTunes, everything, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, YouTube, everything you could think of, Deezer, fucking Amazon.
All right. The
And that's
album
Sorry.
the album Sentimentalism is on all those platforms. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Artist name
Nice.
RayRayBeats, all one word,
RayRayBeats.
RayRayBeats, Sentimentalism.
Hell yeah. Ray, this has been a real pleasure. I love talking to you. I think you're an interesting cat. You're doing a lot of fun stuff, and your determination is inspiring, to say the least.
Yeah.
I can't wait for you to put something else out project wise, so that we have an excuse to do this again. And it's honestly, again, I discovered you years ago just as a producer, and it's been really cool to see you grow and to see you make good on your word. Like you said, you were going to differentiate yourself and make something unique, and it was a real pleasure to listen to the album and to see that come to fruition.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. Maybe we could do like a check back in 3 months and we could see if I'm back in the kitchen, or if I got any money, I'll update you guys.
We'll hold you to this. Yeah, of course. Again, okay, so very, very quickly, you're going to be receiving a follow-up email. This podcast is going to be released Sunday, the 20th. So this Sunday in a few days.
Oh, shit.
And you will be getting a link to listen to the episode upon release in your email. But again, we'll definitely stay in touch. And I do appreciate the time that you spent speaking with us. And thank you a lot for coming on and sharing with us your vision, rather.
Yeah, thank you. And I suppose it's okay for me to plug the podcast and the link to the podcast on all my social media and stuff.
Of course,
and,
yeah, please do. That would be really, really appreciated.
I'm gonna want to put clips from it too on my like YouTube and stuff like that, and on my Facebook, if you're okay with that.
Yeah. Put the the cringier, the more captivating, the better. What she say?
How dare she?
She really said fuck Lil Pete.
Yeah, you could chop up all the audio and put it together however you want. You can make me say some very disparaging things.
You know who Jordan Peterson is?
Yes.
Oh no, I don't want to.
Somebody took one of those AI robots that like chops their voice up and made this like poetry video on YouTube called "The Art of Sucking Dick" by Dr. Jordan Peterson, and it's so fucking funny. It's so funny.
Well, if you are inspired to make a similar poem with my voice about Hitler, I put the word out there for you now, Hitler.
Jordan
go wild.
Yeah, we could do a lot with that now.
Oh, Ray, thank you so much, brother.
I'm so appreciative. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Likewise.
You have a great night, you guys. Ciao.
Yeah, you too. Congratulations on a dope album, Ray.
Thank you. Adios.
Peace, brother.
Bye. Bye.